Hello, I'm attorney Thomas Burton. I'm an estate planning and asset protection attorney here in Wisconsin, and today's question is the following. Can you own a car on Medicaid? This is a very good question, and I see it come up frequently, and the short answer is yes. You can own one automobile regardless of value generally and qualify for Medicaid as long as this is the automobile you use for your personal use. So this is one of the quirks in the Medicaid program, that they will allow you to have one car and they don't really look at the value. Now, I've had clients who have two cars that aren't worth very much, and that's a problem. You're not going, let's say you have two cars, one's worth $3,000 and one's worth $4,000. Well, the second car is gonna keep you from qualifying for Medicaid. However, if you just had one car worth $10,000, more than both two cars, you would be okay for Medicaid qualification purposes. And so what I discuss with my clients at my office is if we prepare a Medicaid application, we want to make sure that all your assets meet the allowable levels before we submit that Medicaid application. Because if you submit a Medicaid application with more assets than you're allowed, they're going to automatically deny it, and you just waste all that time. And unfortunately, I see this happen to many people who try to do it without an attorney, because they're either given bad information by a social worker or other well-meaning person, or they're given no information at all, and they just fill out the application, submit it, wait weeks for a response, only to find out it's been denied. So better to understand what you're allowed to have up front, fill out the application truthfully and correctly, but before you apply, you can move assets around to meet the allowable levels. So, for example, if you have two cars, like I said, it might be better to sell one car and just keep the other, or sell both and buy one better car before applying for Medicaid. Now, if you're a single individual, you need someone to help you do this, and that's why it's important to have a durable financial power of attorney in place, an agent who could quickly take care of these tasks for you while you're recovering in the nursing home. If you're married, you have a spouse who can help you, but it's also important to have that financial power of attorney in place. Now, be aware that there's special rules that apply if there's a community spouse, meaning a married couple with one person in the nursing home and one person living outside. But for a single person, you can have, or married couple, you can have this one car. You can also generally have the home and qualify for Medicaid, but it doesn't mean that later they won't come after the home for estate recovery purposes. So I've created other videos on how to protect the home from Medicaid and nursing home long-term care. You might want to check those out if you have a home. And I also have a free guide on how to protect your home from the nursing home, 5 steps to take. I'll put the link to that in this video. If you're interested in that, click the link, enter your email, and it'll automatically send the guide to your inbox. Now, returning to your question about the car, again, you can have one car and qualify for Medicaid. You must list it on the Medicaid application, and you can't have more than one car. So if you're in this situation, what I call crisis Medicaid planning, needing to apply for Medicaid fast at the last minute, I suggest you work with a qualified Medicaid and estate planning attorney who has done this before and can help you fill out the application correctly to have the best chance of approval the first time. Sometimes when I sit down with a client, I see little assets that might not even be worth that much money, but if they're out of the allowable limits, it's going to cause a big problem and delay your Medicaid approval. And with the average cost of care in Wisconsin, private pay being $8,000 to $9,000 per month, even 1 month delay in your application can cost you an additional $8,000 you're paying out of pocket. So as much as doing it yourself can seem like it might save you money, every day that passes while you're waiting for the Medicaid office to respond or get back to you, review the application, that's another day you're paying for the nursing home care. So what you want to do is get the Medicaid application as correct as possible the first time and submit it that you meet the allowable limits, because then the date they go by is the date of submission. So you don't want to have to submit twice or submit an incorrect, incomplete one. You want to get it as close to correct as possible. They'll still generally always have questions, but if you work with an attorney who's done it before, we can help you put your best foot forward, if you will, on that initial Medicaid application. Get it submitted, because every day that passes that you're private paying, it adds up over time. And I've seen with clients cases where we can get them qualified, but I still can't make the government move faster. So depending on their caseload, they will often take several weeks to get back to you with final approval. So again, time is definitely money in this case, and in my opinion, it's best to work with a qualified estate planning attorney. So great question about the car and what's allowed with Medicaid. Thank you for asking, and we'll see you next time.